Time to grow, distinguished Toastmaster Mayur Venkatesh.
Mr. Toastmaster of the day, am I audible and visible?
Yes, you are audible and visible.
Thank you. One of the earliest known emotions to mankind is that of fear. It is the greatest emotion, and the greatest fear on earth is that of the unknown. Mr. Toastmaster of the day, fellow friends and guests, I had the fear of unknown. Let me introduce myself to you. I am an entrepreneur based in Coimbatore. I'm a marketing agent for machinery in the textile industry. Over the last 10 years, I have put in my heart and soul into this work. Through my continued and persistent efforts, my business has now grown. For the last 10 years, I had operated as a single employee in my company, having grown my network as along with my customers and along with my suppliers. This business and this network grew in size. Over the last few years, I have also ventured into other verticals of supplying not just capital machinery, but also consumable products. The challenges of working in consumable products is not that the same of having working with capital goods. Hence, it requires a lot more effort and time for the same amount of reward that we need to get in capital machinery. And hence, I was at a crossroad recently. I did not have the sufficient amount of time or effort to put in for the effort that it demanded. And hence, I had to make a decision. I had an unceasing thought of what to do, what, where should I go now? And this thought was really probing my head. And like always, Toastmasters and the lessons that we learn from Toastmasters come handy. The wonderful initiative or the idea of having mentors in Toastmasters had introduced me to a wonderful gentleman called Shivasailam. He is a Toastmaster and he is also a marketing person in the pharmaceutical industry. Having connected and bonded with him over the last 5, 6 years, he was really very kind to take me under his wings and guide me whenever I had a challenging situation. And hence, I went and approached to him. I laid out my challenges that were there in front of me, and it was his words of wisdom that still resonate widely and vividly within my ears. That is, Mayur, communication is not just about communicating to other people, but it is also to communicate with ourselves. That really resonated with me. And what he advised me to create a plan on how I can grow in my business. He suggested that given that your business has now grown, it is ideal for you to take up an office and start working out of an office. The first step led me into going in search of finding an ideal office. After having scouted nearby and to an ideal location, I came and landed upon this current office. It took quite a considerable amount of time, but having set up my flag post in this location, I started to venture into the other challenges that were there. My mentor, he suggested that now that you are finding it tough to contribute sufficient amount of time, it might be the right time for you to grow your business and as not just as a solo entrepreneur, but it is time for you to grow your firm. Wow. Upon hearing these words, I had a tough time grasping the gravity of what he was saying. The challenges of working as a solo entrepreneur is considerable. At the same time, the comfort is also something that really keeps us bound. The thought of hiring someone, the thought of giving work to them, and also keeping them engaged is something really daunting. At the same time, we have to pay to them every month. Will I be able to do that? I was cornered on all sides with questions. But at the same time, the question was that if I have to grow, I have to take a leap of faith and take an educated decision. It is at this moment that I got the idea to go and hire an individual. I went and I started to research on how I can hire my first employee for the company. I started to understand and started to jot down the points that were necessary. What is the need for a new employee? I listed out every detail. I also listed out what is my job or what is the work that I do through my company in a detailed manner. This gave me a lot of clarity because it is not just that the person whom I hire should have clarity of thought of joining my company. I also, as an employer, must have the good clarity of thought for hiring him and giving him the right work for him to do. Hence, this creating a communication plan have worked really well for me. After creating a correct job profile, I went and logged into a few online job portals and I posted all these details that I had with me over there. Just upon posting this message, I started to receive a lot of inquiries and responses for this. I did conduct a few interviews and I have now zeroed down on an ideal employee who will be a very ideal match for the requirements. It is just because I had a good communication plan at hand at the starting of this role that I was able to conduct and do this task successfully. Right now, I am now set to grow in my business and confidently venture into growing in other verticals as well. With having the assets of a strong supplier and a strong customer base, I can now confidently grow in other verticals. Having a clear communication plan in this instance had really led me to the right solution. I'm sure each and every one of us as individuals will also be having a lot of challenges in front of us. It is for us to take the lessons that we learn from Toastmasters and to apply it in our day to day life. I'm sure the lessons that we learn as XCOM members in our role in Toastmasters will definitely reap and reward us in our professional and personal life. It is just that we need to keep our eyes open because the fear of the unknown is the greatest fear. And the only way that we can tackle this fear is by going in search of knowledge and going in search of a mentor who will guide us to the right solution. Having a clear communication plan is always beneficial for all of us around us. Thank you for giving me this opportunity and over to the Toastmaster of the day.
Call upon the second speech evaluator, Toastmaster Ranga, to evaluate distinguished Toastmaster Mayur Venkatesh's speech.
Good morning, everyone. CPS Toastmaster Mayur Venkatesh is on a journey of self-exploration as an entrepreneur for more than 10 years, where he performed all the activities by himself. He spoke about how fear was the greatest emotion and how he reached the crossroads, balancing machines, goods, and capital. It was here that he met a mentor who advised him that communication is not only between others, but also to oneself. After he looked himself in one place, he realized that he had to grow organically rather than be cornered on all sides. So what did he do? He realized that he needed an employee who would help him achieve his goals. This helped him to create a job profile that could be posted in various boards to scout for the ideal candidate. He also brought about the synergy of Toastmasters, mentoring, and his profession, and how it helped him harness all these things together to become a lot more successful. However, there are a couple of recommendations. This is a very interesting journey, but there was very negligible voice modulation, especially when he spoke about fear being the greatest emotion. He could have shown a frown, or he could have just exhibited the fear and, and to show the apprehension. The thing shows for Mayur would have also explained how he effectively used the communication that he learned and how often he reached out in various boards to get the ideal candidate. Because getting a candidate is easy, and he himself mentioned that he had received innumerable number of candidates. And how was he going to set them out? What was the thing that he was going to look for to make his organization more successful? To summarize, distinguished Toastmaster Mayur gave us a good idea about how he started and sustained his entrepreneurship trait. If he could have modulated his speech with different intonations and explained the communication aspects a bit more, the speech could have gone up next level. Best wishes. Back to you, General Evaluator.
Thank you, Toastmaster Ranga, for your wonderful evaluation. So now we move on to the qualitative evaluation.